Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm doing a follow-up vid to my previous, and while I have time in between, I've been busy all day. I put up that prior vid earlier talking about the Purdue patriarch author Sackler, and talking about the Sackler family in Purdue, and very interesting stuff. So while I have some alone time before my company comes over, just want to make people reminiscent of this company, and there are many others like it. I'm just using this as a reference because there's that show that I've been talking about. I guess it's based on a particular book, but the show is called Dope Sick on Hulu. A lot of people don't have Hulu, so I ended up just getting a month subscription just to show some clips because it's so important. And it really centers around this huge epidemic. And I love to talk about Wonderland, that this is the land of Oz, the land of Nod. Everyone's nodding out, they're going to sleep. Many songs. I put up a song from Cracker, that song Low, how you're going miles and miles low. It talks about the poppies in the song, so it's not talking about cannabis. And with each tablet, he's going down, he's descending into madness, as you can see, right? So very interesting, and very in the show, guys, they actually show this building. I believe it's at the end. They want to purchase this building. Very interesting stuff. Yeah, so you'll find this in the show. So this all started, this is all making me think Matrix is out. I'm not sure what happens to Morpheus. People saying that they take him out in this series. They took out Morpheus when I'm about to expose Morpheus. But it's funny because in Morpheus, a lot of people love to use the red pill reference, right? Like the red pill's going to wake you up. And I think I just found the origin of the red and the blue pill, guys. Very interesting stuff. And, this is the land of, this is Sleepy Land, everyone going to these stupid festivals, being like distracted, being put to sleep spiritually. Isn't everyone asleep spiritually nowadays? It's horrible. And, they do it in different forms. But in the medical industry, the Temple of Doom, many doctors have called those places temples of dooms. Why do you think there's an actual altar? They have a place where you pray in every hospital. There's a room for that, right? So it just goes to show a lot of people don't understand, like, we are in this dream world, right? So I'm just trying to make connections. You got this movie Candyman out. I put out the connection with the god Saturn, which people don't realize Saturnalia is the real name of so-called Christmas. And really people don't, ye know not whom you worship, as they say, right? So going down this trail, I went under oxycodone. Like a lot of the stuff that I got, guys, I started here with the Purdue Pharma, and then it converged into, records in China. I just made a vid, right? So just want to show you, like, with different vids, I'll break it up, make this one, of course, a lot shorter. I'm in the middle of, like, doing laundry and all this stuff, but I just want to, while it's fresh in my memory, when you have so much information, right? So, I mean, I can do vid after vid just on this topic because I learned so much just from going down this road. And, people, I'm very familiar with oxy, but don't understand, like, the derivatives are still out there, and even like the street stuff, right, are no different than the medical stuff. So don't let them fool you. That's why when people can't get their pharmaceuticals, they end up going to the street ones because they have the same origin anyway. And it shows you all these horrible effects. And I was showing you how the Sacklers of the world do not care what happens to the common person, as long as their profits are up. So you can already see a lot of things going on here. OxyContin, it shows it was first made in Germany, 1916. This is all very in line with the First World War. From Thebain, and Thebain, goes from the name Thebes. You can go down that road. I was telling people you can look up the names of a lot of these products, and it'll tell you the lesser gods or the demons or the fallen angels or whatever you want to call them. Their names will be embedded, thus making them open vessels. Many people are open vessels for demonic possession, and you pretty much put their brand on you when you ingest the stuff. And of course, you can't listen, just think of the Doctor, Who, right? Just think of Doctor Who. When you think of these alphabet soups, of course, codeine, all of this stuff is all derivatives, and it's also available by injection. So when people, I love people in the medical world trying to clown people that do it on the street. I mean, talking about the pot calling the kettle black, seriously. And so we'll just go into it a little bit. Oxycodone, sold under the brand names Roxycodone and Oxycodone, which is the extended release form, among others, is an opiate medication used for treatment of moderate to severe pain. It is highly addictive. So we all know what happened with this huge disorder, right? This also is connected to many others, and I know people, this is really near and dear to me because this hits home with a loved one, and many loved ones. Like I said, a lot of people died under the guise of cancer and organ failure and everything else when it was really toxicity, and it's really sad their voices are not heard. And yet all this stuff is like connected. So when they're like, oh, fentanyl is the worst thing, these are all related, all of these pills and potions. That's what I was trying to say with sorcery. That's what we're dealing with in America and all over the world. That's why everybody is like basically chemically lobotomized, okay? Chemically lobotomized. That is most of the population. That's what their problem is, okay? That, pain is a part of healing, and once you get scared of every little thing, then you can, the consequences are even worse than what you were scared of. So it made me go down these roads, of course, and we could really go into it because it tells you the most common side effect of respiratory depression. A lot of people I know passed away. I know my father passed away like this. My niece passed away like this, no one wants to talk about it. They make me sick. I couldn't even stand it anymore. It's I had to witness a lot of these people, and felt so powerless, right? Because I didn't have the control to do anything. I got, and I have to, reflect and see like what needs to be done, because there was so much breach of fiduciary responsibility. It's not even funny. But at the same time, a lot of people, are getting their, it's also divine judgment too. I'm starting to really think that, And so right here, it's also available in other parts of the world, but right here, 2006 review that controlled release oxycodone is comparable to immediate release oxycodone, morphine, and hydromorphine. So of course, it led me, because, just think of the name Morpheus. It's like, here is the red and blue pills. I think I found it, guys. And a lot of people are being taken out by this. It comes from the same poppy, somniferum. I've already put people onto that. It goes back to the god Hypnos. Okay, all these entities in Somnos to put people to sleep. And so, it's almost like the Most High unleashed this on people too. I don't even know anymore, because, man, what's happened to this world over this, and people can't see we're in the real life Wizard of Oz, and all of these movies have been trying to tell us something, and that, this is from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and we deal with the tree of life. So there are certain things that are not to be taken, and, try not to make this long, so I'll just read it a little bit. It says it can be taken orally or injected. Keep that in mind. It acts directly on the central nervous system to induce analgesia and alter perception and emotional response to pain and emotional, that's interesting, physical and psychic dependency. They might as well just say spiritual because the word psyche means spirit. Dependence and tolerance may develop with repeated administration. It can be taken for both acute pain and chronic pain and is frequently used for pain from myocardiac infarction, kidney stones, and during labor. All those poor kids. We'll have to talk about the Twilight generation, these Twilight twits, because this explains what's happened when you interfere with childbirth and pain and all of that stuff. So it tells you right here, morphine was first isolated between 1803 and 1805 by German pharmacist Friedrich Schutner. This is generally believed to be the first isolation of an active ingredient from a plant, commercially in 1827. I found this to be an extremely valuable piece of information here. Morphine was more widely used after the invention of the scorpion sting in 1853 and 1855. So this goes to show that the scorpion sting is a new invention and that mankind was doing just fine without injecting things into his body, right? So this is all from like the imaginations of the minds of hell. Pseudomore originally named the substance morphine, look, after the Greek god of dreams, Morpheus. Yep, there you go. From Ovid's Metamorphosis. He is the son of Somnus and appears in dreams in human form. He's a shapeshifter, guys. We went down that road. And yeah, we can make several clips. I just wanted to show you some connections while it was still fresh in my mind. And because some of these articles are extremely long, and as it has a tendency to cause sleep. The primary source of morphine is isolation from poppy straw of the opium poppy. In 2013, approximately 523 tons of morphine were produced. Approximately 45 tons were used directly for pain, increase over 400% during the last 20 years. Wow. Most use for this purpose was in the developed world. Yeah, everybody got so damn soft. Like, it's all about that soma from Brave New World. That's why they call that, like, any little pain, they go run and do whatever. But at what cost? What are you doing to yourself, right? People got to toughen up. It's good to be tough, right? Because you'll say no to a lot of things that will hurt you worse. About 70% of morphine is used to make other opioids, such as hydromorphine, oxymorphine, and heroin. It's a Schedule 2. Very interesting. So I go down a little bit. Look at the red and blue pills, guys. That's crazy. So I wonder if the blue is the 5 milligram and the red is more, right? I didn't even get into that, but I think so. I think, like, when he says, the blue pill, take the blue pill and stay in Wonderland, it's like, yeah, you're just sleeping, but like with the red one, it's like, how deep does a rabbit hole go? Like, maybe like you go into like a portal of hell or whatever. It's even worse. And the Matrix is a trick bag in itself because the Bible talks about the Holy One of Israel. So like no one should be called the One. Like he's the one per se. This is a lot of Gnostic talk where everyone thinks they're a god. So I'm thinking that the blue is 5 milligrams. I could be mistaken, just saying. So we already learned a lot just from looking down there, okay? So, you really go into it. Tells you what happens to the body. Very highly addictive. I was trying to go where else I saw too. It has a negative effect on memory, cognitive abilities. It goes to show that a lot of toxicity, but the pharmacology is definitely the same as heroin. And I'm trying to find where I read that because they're basically the same. I'm sure the effects are horrible, but I don't think I even went that far to see that. I'm trying to see right here somewhere. Let's see, because it says like right here. Morphine is under the reinforcement disorders addiction. Morphine is a highly addictive substance, and controlled studies compare the physiological and subjective effects of heroin and morphine in individuals formerly addicted to opiates. Subjects showed no preference for one drug over the other. Equipotent injected doses had comparable action courses with no difference in subjects' self-rating feelings of euphoria, ambition, nervousness and relaxation, drowsiness or sleepiness. Short-term addiction studies by the same researchers demonstrated that tolerance developed at a similar rate to both heroin and morphine. When compared to the opiates, hydromorphone, fentanyl, which see how they're all opiates, guys, oxycodone, and pethidine, meperidine, former addicts showed a strong preference for heroin and morphine, suggesting that heroin and morphine are particularly susceptible to abuse and addiction. Morphine and heroin are also much more likely to produce euphoria and other positive subjective effects when compared to these other opioids. The choice of heroin and morphine over other opioids by former drug addicts may also be because heroin, also known as morphine diacetate, diamorphine, or diacetyl morphine, is an ester of morphine and a morphine prodrug, essentially meaning they are identical drugs in vivo. Heroin is converted to morphine before binding to the opiate receptors in the brain and spinal cord, where morphine causes the subjective effects, which is what the addicted individuals are seeking. See how they're both the same? Look at this picture, huh? So this has been a big deal. So this is definitely what all of witchcraft is all about. So we're definitely staying away, guys, from, because you got Morpheus, when you get him from the Matrix. Morpheus, Matrix. And that picture always comes up. So, everyone wants to use that red pill philosophy. Well, guys, I even said, like, in one of my vids, like, what's up with all this red pill mania? It just didn't sit right with me because I thought we weren't supposed to be taking pills and potions. But they got us doing that, right? And then when you see his name, and then you go to morphine, I mean, they show you the colors of the pills right there. Right there. Just too funny. And it tells you that his name, that's where they got it from. So when they say, oh, it's not religious or spiritual, you have like an entity attached to it, to all this stuff. So when people are like, oh, people are going straight crazy, at these concerts. And I was looking up Morpheus in mythology, a lot of different depictions for him. There's one here. So, see if I can bring that up. So I don't know how accurate all these are, but there are different statues of this entity. So it's all about, putting you to sleep, and, you got it on the cartoons and stuff. I don't know why he does that every time I try to open up these things now. So annoying. But yeah, so I just want to make that connection to show you that scorpion sting is a very new invention too, guys, right? And I know people who have passed away. And what does Ezekiel tell you? I've been trying to tell people, even Even Alice in Wonderland and all that, they know the Bible so well. We don't know the Bible. Ezekiel chapter 3 verse 2, so I opened my mouth and he gave me the scroll to eat. And like I told people, you got to ingest the holy scriptures, meaning you got to read them. You got to, read them so well that like it becomes a part of you. Like you can, remember the different verses. It's actually kind of fun to do that. Like I hate when I don't remember a verse, like, this one too, I had to look it up and I usually know too. So Ezekiel, chapter 3 will tell you straight up how they, plagiarize from, God's records and all that, so it goes to show for anybody out there who's been doubting if this is spiritual, if this is, has anything to do with the Most High or whatever, you bet it does, and so they just plagiarize it constantly. In Big Pharma, what has it done? And everything's flipped. We're in the upside down. Look at it that way. What's right is wrong, what's wrong is right. Just like in the just like with Alice in Wonderland too, when she's going, and nothing really made sense. She was dealing with all these strange, peculiar characters, right? Talking backwards. That's definitely where we are now. People, they use these words and they have no understanding that words have been used against us. Even the word cannabis, used to be called cannabism. It was mistranslated in the Bible. They got people to call it the devil's lettuce. How many innocent people have been incarcerated because of that flower? But they'll put people on methadone for how long? I've seen people who go from the heroin, then they go on the methadone. Have you seen them, guys? They turn into a freaking Oompa Loompa. They have metabolic syndrome. They look like they're full of water and stuff, and they're so out of it. So that's just another derivative. They just make them go there every day. They make them take that stuff 7 days a week. Looks like a little weird cup of Kool-Aid. It shows you in that dope sick, it shows you like they go from one thing to another, that like at the end they didn't really get the help they need. They were still very, very much under the spell of the Candyman spell, of the Morpheus spell, all of this stuff going on. And these shows have been trying to show us, guys. And I mean, this taking me all the way to, the hidden records in China, where they got a lot of these ideas from, and recipes for, how to do this stuff, and for all their dark arts and black magic and Chaldean magic. That's why I read chapter 47 of the book of Isaiah yesterday, calling America the daughter of the Chaldeans. And a lot of the stuff is definitely that. They're making us think, oh, taking the red pill is better than taking that. Well, where in the Bible does it say pills are for the healing of the nations? It says herbs, guys. It says herbs. And if you need information, it's in there. It's in these records. But people don't want nothing to do with that. But they'll watch the movies and stuff that plagiarize it. But look at Big Pharma, who's the biggest scourge here. Even the police are more dangerous. Police, watch out. They're more dangerous than snake bites. Oh, I've been saying that, lice, like more than one lice, bloodsuckers. Too funny, right? But this is the Big Pharma racket. Many people says, how long are you prepared to wait? How many more have to die? How many more billions will you allow pharmaceutical companies to make from human history? And many, many great quotes from Peter Goetz, MD, co-founder of the Cochrane Collaboration. He says the main reason we take so many drugs is that drug companies don't sell drugs. They sell lies about it. They make you think it's miraculous. It's funny, they call themselves so scientific, and then they say, we got this miracle pill. I thought you didn't believe in miracles. It's like, freaking Scooby-Doo wordplay. It's awful. He also says, how come we have allowed drug companies to lie so much, commit habitual crime, and kill hundreds of thousands of patients, and yet we do nothing? Why don't we put those responsible in jail? That's what I said. Because I've been saying that about my my relatives, that passed away. No one cares. No one else cares. No one's doing this due diligence and research. People say, oh, I love this one, I love that one. It's like, they don't know what love is, because most people are like in a hurry to push each other right in the freaking grave. Like, just be so resolved, like, oh, the witch doctor said this person's gonna die, so therefore they must die. You know, more chemicals and potions goes back to the word kemet. You know, back to Egypt, they used abominable stuff. That's it. That's where we even get embalming from, which is horrible for the earth. It's toxic. And the people who push a lot of this stuff, they're not immune to the repercussions, because you know what? You reap what you sow. If you're in these fields and you're pushing it, you're on the front lines. Why do you think they call those people on the front lines? Isn't that a war term? Because we're in a war, okay? They're in the front lines because they're exposed to all this toxicity. And it's been said that these temples of doom, these hospitals, are actually the most filthiest places you could ever go to, okay? So even antibiotics, people don't realize how even that. I mean, I can do vids even with, you know, Advil, Motrin, all that stuff. People think over-the-counter stuff is safe. It's really not, guys. It's really not. You know, that's why I'll have to do vids. Just, you know, breaking it down. I don't like to make long vids. I like to keep your attention. You know, just letting people know that there's garlic. There's actual natural antibiotics that won't demolish all of your microgenome, which is what theirs will do, okay? I've had surgery where, you know, they'll tell you, oh, take antibiotics or whatever. I only had surgery to remove breast implants because I was dumb enough to get those in years back. And let me tell you, I didn't take any scripts. I did my own antibiotic regimen. I took the garlic and the ginger and turmeric. I did that like twice a day, just like I would if they gave me a script. I threw those in the trash. I told them, don't even bother, you know. For the pain, I did willow bark, cayenne pepper. You know, there's many things that are great for pain. And guess what? It worked. Some cannabis, calm myself down, and I was good as new. Okay, I wasn't writhing in pain. I didn't die from pain. These idiots will make you think you're gonna die from pain. And I'll have to do more vids on the Dope Sick movie, because they were saying that this so-called author Sackler, you know, the jerk with all the Chinese artifacts, that he was the one that revolutionized medicine, that he did like the whole spell of, you know, because before his time, people knew that it was the patient's, you know, right and decision on what medications they should put in their body or whatever, right? Which is, you know, correct. And then he did some Scooby-Doo mind control trick where he got the world to believe it's the doctors who have the say, and that's still the freaking antiquated way of looking at things that people are still trying to push now. And how we doing in the health field? Not too good, right? It says 2 million American adults and children become infected with antibiotic-resistant bacteria each year, and at least 23,000 of them die as a direct result of those infections. Yeah, we already know about chemo. Can't say enough about it. Cannot say enough. And for people talking about fire, and this is the real crisis. This is the real so-called epidemic. And if there isn't like an emergency that will elicit a need for their junk, they'll manufacture one. You get it? And even with OxyContin, we can go into there. I'm going to do another vid, because going down that road, I, stumbled upon how OxyContin played into one of the false flags that Germany pulled with Poland. Okay, Operation Himmler. We'll have to do another vid on that. It's just not enough hours in the day to combat these freaking gremlins, right? And so, I'll just leave that there so you can see some of these. All of this is premeditated murder. It's state-sponsored murder. It's genocide. Look up the Georgia Guidestones, you know. They want it where everyone's just so out of it, and if they can't get you with the puppies, they'll get you with the frequencies. They'll get you with the TV. They'll get you with, these festivals, and look what happens with these festivals, right? When the Travis Scott thing, you're not safe anywhere because we're in this big labyrinth together. You get it? And at least you're not alone. At least you're not alone. And I showed this picture because everyone's under the spell of the poppies, under the spell of all of these entities putting us to sleep. Purdue is very guilty. You think that they've stopped what they do, and they just, repackage what they're doing. They probably have their hand in the stinger now, right? Of course, And you go into Morpheus, it's all about that, and he's all about pushing those pills, guys. Pushing those pills. You go into morphine. There is the red and blue. That's all I gotta say. And of course, the constipation. We can do a whole vid on that, because all of these pain medicines love to constipate people. And if you don't go to the bathroom, if you don't detox, you will surely die. Like, straight up, no joke. Like, your body will jam the hell up. And what happens to your house when you don't take out the trash or whatever? Believe me, I mean, these people are so, so, so sick. So sick, it's not even funny. Because just going into the whole oxy thing, I mean, they injected soldiers with this stuff. You think that these poor military people, that's why I tell people, don't even bother. Don't even bother with this stuff. Because once you go into the military, they will do whatever they want to you. Whatever they want. I'm trying to find where, I knew it was like some history that had to do with that. And they use the soldiers as guinea pigs, straight guinea pigs. Of course, I don't see it now. I'll have to do another vid, because it was somewhere on Oxy where it talked about, the history of it and stuff, which was very, very crazy. Right here. It says right here, during Operation Himmler, Schofiddle, because the history of it goes into how Martin Freud and Edmund Speyer of the University of Frankfurt in Germany published the first synthesis of oxycodone from thebaine in 1916. When Freud died in 1920, Speyer wrote his obituary. Speyer, born to a Jewish family. See, they always tell on themselves who they are. In 1878, so it goes into that. Okay, fine. Then he goes into, how it's introduced. Merck introduced a combination product containing scopolamine, oxycodone, and ephedrine under the first German initials for the ingredients SEE, which was later renamed Schofiddle, in 1942. It was last manufactured in 1987 but can be compounded. This combination is essentially an oxycodone analog of the morphine-based twilight sleep. I have to go back into that, see how it all connects, and I'm like, oh, these freaking sleepy twilight kids, they act like they're freaking, it's like these kids are born dead already. You notice these children now, they're literally born dead already. They have like no spirit in them for the most high. It's crazy. And they only like gothic, dark shit, and like even the Travis Scott, like who the hell even would pay to go see that? And you see how they were acting. And it says with ephedrine added to reduce circulatory and respiratory effects, the drug became known as the miracle drug of the 1930s. So this, this was already around in continental Europe and elsewhere, and it was the Wehrmacht's choice for a battlefield analgesic for a time. So when we say, oh, the Nazi connection, there's your Nazi connection. Okay, so right here, Operation Himmler, it was, Scopola was also reported injected in massive overdose into the prisoners dressed in Polish army uniforms in the staged incident on September 1st, 1939, which opened the Second World War. Imagine. And the personal notes of Adolf Hitler's physician, Theodor Morell, indicate Hitler received repeated injections of Eucadol, oxycodone, and scoferdol, as well as dolontin, so hard to say, guys, codeine or pethidine, and morphine less frequently. Oxycodone could not be obtained after late January 1945. So we can do a whole thing like that. Purdue Pharma is a privately held company based in Stamford, Connecticut. Too close for comfort, guys, because I'm in Massachusetts. So we're going to keep exposing them. Thank you so much for watching. I'll upload this. I got to get back to it. But see, it all started with going down these roads, and I'll put up clips, from the show, because it just, it's a very, very good show. If you haven't watched it, please do. And so I got a month free just to show you how, America got hooked on a lie. And of course, and they don't help with these movies. They just bring you one to another. It's like, oh, thanks. This pill is a little less strong than this pill, I'm sure. But the Bible tells you straight up what you're supposed to do. Eat the scrolls, the ancient Hebrew scrolls of the Most High, ingest his information so you have a chance to be saved. And he's the only one that can save anybody. Have a great day, guys, and thank you so much. Shalom.